Hey everyone, it's Miss Hakvari from the library, and I wanted to talk with you a little bit today about some superhero reads. I don't know about you, but in our house, we really like superhero movies and superhero stories. In fact, I've got my Thor mask, my Incredible Hulk mask, and Captain America here, because as I'm recording this, it's the opening weekend for the new Avengers movie, which we'll be going to see. And so that kind of got me thinking about all the different things that I love about superhero stories and books. And so some of the things I love is when we're talking about superheroes, all of those stories are full of action and adventure, crazy stunts and wild action. The characters almost seem larger than life. In a lot of cases, they are because of their superpowers. And it got me thinking about some books that we have in the library that where characters have super abilities or superpowers, or there's a lot of action and adventure. The first book I wanted to tell you about has been in our library for a couple years, but it is on our teen award list now. And it's called I Am Princess X. And this is a really cool book. I just finished it within the last week or so. I read it really fast because it was really, really interesting and it grabbed my attention. And what's fun about I Am Princess X is it's sort of a mystery thriller suspense book, but it also has part of the story told through graphic novels. So you'll read text for a little bit, and then you get a bit of a graphic novel series, and then you go back to the text. And it's really fascinating the way they did that. The story behind I Am Princess X, it starts off with two best friends. Their names are Libby and May, and they create this character and this comic series called Princess X. And so Libby draws the pictures for this, May writes the story for this. A few years later, Libby, who's in middle school at that point, is in a car accident and she dies. And because she's gone, there's no reason to keep up the stories of Princess X. So, fast forward a few more years, and now 16-year-old May is walking through the streets of Seattle and she sees the Princess X drawing that Libby used to do in a storefront window. And as she starts looking a little bit more, Princess X is everywhere. There are stickers, there are people that have patches on their backpacks or jackets. There's graffiti that feature Princess X, the character, and she finds this comic online. And as she starts reading the comic, the story is pretty dark and pretty disturbing. The Princess X's mother, the queen, has been murdered. Princess X herself has been kidnapped. There's a quest that Princess X must finish to stay alive. But in that action and adventure, there are details that only Libby and May would have known. And since they were the original ones to write the story, they're the only ones that know some of the background that's in this comic. And May starts to wonder if this friend that she thought was dead is actually alive. So it's a really great, like I said, mystery, suspense, thriller. And if you like graphic novels, this might be good for you as well. The next book I wanted to talk about, this really is a superhero novel, except the superhero we know is not quite grown up yet. So this is sort of like a prequel or almost even an origin story of Wonder Woman, and it's called The Warbringer. And in this book, Diana, Princess of the Amazons, really wants to prove herself to her warrior sisters, to the warriors that she lives among. But when the chance comes, she's running this annual race and she's actually in the lead. She breaks Amazon law to save a mortal. That mortal's name is Aaliyah. And the problem is, Aaliyah is no actual or no ordinary mortal. She has this curse on her that basically she's called the Warbringer. When she gets to a certain age, just that event of her turning a certain age is going to bring about an era of death and destruction. So there have been different Warbringers through history, and it's caused a lot of conflict. And Aaliyah is the newest Warbringer. So Diana, by doing this good deed of saving Aaliyah, has now put the Amazon world and the human world in jeopardy. And Diana needs to find a way to both save Aaliyah, because there are people who are after her. They want to kill the Warbringer to stop more catastrophes from happening. And she needs to also find a way to save the world and try to figure out if those two things can be done. So if you like superhero stories, if you saw the Wonder Woman movie last year, this would be a really good read for you. Lots of action and adventure. The characters are really fun to get to know. And then the last book I wanted to talk about is a very different definition of what a hero is going to be. This book is called The Unlikely Hero of Room 13B. And it is about this kid named Adam. He's a high school student, and Adam has some issues. He has young adult OCD, so he has obsessive compulsive disorder, and he's being treated for that through therapy and through a support group. And he's in a support group one day, and this girl Robin walks in, and he is sort of hopelessly drawn to her, almost like love at first sight. She's really pretty, and Adam just kind of can't stop thinking about her, can't stop looking at her. But the problem is, she's in this group, so she also has OCD. In fact, she's just been released from a residential program, which is where the very worst cases go to get treatment. And so Adam immediately knows that he has to save Robin. He kind of wants to be her hero. But as the story goes on, we start to realize that maybe Robin isn't the one that needs saving. Maybe Adam needs a little more support than what he's getting. So, this is a really interesting read. It's in our teen drama section because it really features what it's like to live with a mental illness, what it's like to live in a rough home situation. Adam's got some struggles there, and what it's like as a teenager to fall in love, that first love, and how important that can be in your life. So, those were just a few titles that deal with heroes and superpowers and what it's like to be a hero. We've got a lot of others. So, I would highly encourage you to come in and check out the three titles I talked about, or maybe some of these others. Michael Vey is a great series. We have graphic novels that deal with heroes. We have graphic novels that deal with bravery. We've got lots of fantasy and action and adventure books that would fit this bill. So come on in and see us and check out some of these great reads.